All right. Good morning. Russ, can you hear me okay? Justin, are you there? You can hear me?
I got you.
Or
Yeah,
thumbs up. Okay,
I
cool.
can hear you.
Hey, yeah, good. We're going to get rolling, guys. I hope everyone's doing really well. And since we've got 50 or 60 people, I got to tell you, this has already been a great morning. I just submitted my 2021 Masters tournament ticket, hopeful, crossing my fingers. And I'm just throwing it out to 50 people in this call to send me good vibes that I win this year. All right? That's very
All the
selfish
good
of me,
vibes.
but I want all the good vibes going on. Next, I need to explain my surroundings right now. My car has been in the shop for a little while. You probably can't tell what I'm doing, but I'm seeing major glare on my face and stuff. Some of it is because I'm like an angel and all of that good stuff. But some of it is because I took my car down to the dealership this morning. They had to finish up one last thing they missed when I got my car yesterday. They said they'd have me on the road at 7:30 at the latest, and that didn't happen. So I have turned the back of my car into a mini office, and there's actually quite a bit of room in here. But I even parked with trees behind me on the off chance that I wanted to show a little scenery. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing great today, ready for an amazing Thursday. We are in for a huge treat. We've got one of my favorite people in the world, Justin Crane, with us, who has been with the company for quite a while now, and really started his career with Everest, I believe. Justin, you got to confirm that for me. I just said it, but I
That's right.
believe
Yeah,
you did.
I did.
Just look, I'll get more into it, but when I think about Justin, I think of consistency. This is an individual who, from the beginning of his career, has been able to consistently close deals, turn it on, make things happen. And so I'm honored to know him, having part of the company and associate, and I call him a friend. Just I'm excited to have him here. So Justin, welcome. Thanks for participating today.
Thanks, Jeremy. Excited.
Okay, sweet. So let's just dive right in. We've got a total mix of people on the call right now. We've got top producing agents. We've got agents who are seasoned and been around forever. And then we've got some brand new agents. And so what I'd love to do is have you just share a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, what you've been working on in the past, maybe even some of your numbers of closings, that kind of stuff, and then what you're focused on right now.
Yeah, so I got into the business in 2016, and I was doing door-to-door sales for a local alarm company, Vivint, for about 4 years prior to that. And my wife, when we were getting married, she couldn't travel because she owns a business here. And so I decided to make a career change and hop into real estate, and it's been great ever since. So last year, I think I did 41 transactions, and that's closed transactions. This year I'm at 20 closed and 8 under contract at the minute.
Which is huge. And I was just going to tell that because you mentioned that in our conversation the other day. But guys, can you imagine that right now? 8 deals under contract at this moment, which is awesome. So, okay, cool. Well, clearly there's crazy statistics out there that talk about how in the real estate industry, X number of agents sign up and 90% of them drop out in the first year. Horrible statistics. So one thing I always like to say to people is, wow, you made it through year one. You've obviously done something different and all of that. And now here you are, Justin, all of these years later, and boy, 40 plus transactions, 8 under contract right now, poised to have your best year ever. I just want to ask you, what is it that you believe that you do that separates you from the competition?
Yeah, so the biggest thing, Jeremy, is consistency. That's probably the major thing that I feel like I'm really good at is, unless it's like some major event going on or I'm out of town, I am prospecting every single day. And it has become religious to me ever since the day that I started. And when I started on a team with Phil Harvey, and he told me if I make my calls every single day and I'm focusing on setting an appointment every single day, that this business will be great for me. And so that's been the main thing that I focused on since day one.
Cool. Which is huge. And I think that's pretty common among, and you said consistency. I think there's probably other areas in which you're consistent. Maybe talk about your schedule and showing up to the office and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So my schedule, do you want to hear about my whole morning or just when I get to the office?
Yeah, anything, dude. Cause I'm imagining it all contributes to who you are and your success.
Yeah. So my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I love hearing these morning ascents because I know that I'm not the only crazy one, but I wake up at 5:30 every single day religiously, just like my prospecting. But I wake up, I exercise, I focus on my mindset every single day, do a little bit of spiritual study, and then I get ready and come to the office by 8 o'clock every single day. And at 8 o'clock, I'm following up, setting appointments with the people that I'm working with today as far as buyers go, and listing appointments. I'm confirming all of those. And then by 9 o'clock, I'm hopping on the phone, calling the expireds and then FSBOs. And then I do my follow-up leads and call my buyer leads and try and get my 30 contacts by noon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, that's great. And that's a great schedule. And I love how you're putting the emphasis on those money-making activities first thing in the morning and getting those things out of the way. So good for you. That's huge. And anybody participating and listening right now, guys, it's not luck. It's not, I mean, he is putting the right things in the right priority in his schedule, which is enormous. Maybe just tag on to what you just said, but you mentioned some strengthening of your mindset. So what specific activities do you engage in to strengthen your mindset?
Yeah, so that's one thing, Jeremy, that I've been trying to focus more on this year, which so far I can absolutely feel the benefits of it. But the things that I focus on is I meditate every single morning for about 10 to 15 minutes. And that's honestly been a game changer for me. I kind of thought in the past that meditation was like totally dorky and not real. And this year I decided that I was going to start trying it out, and it's been great. So it makes me feel better, clearer, and more energy and positive in the morning. So I'd encourage everybody to try it out because it really does work. I also focus on prayer, reading my scriptures every single day. And then I focus on the exercise. So I try and exercise about an hour every day. I'm training for a full marathon right now. That's in September. It got pushed to September. And so I've been running a lot, which has been brutal, but it's been great.
That's awesome, dude. So you've got meditation, some spiritual stuff, and then of course the exercise, which is huge. And that's all done by 7:30 every morning.
Yeah, 7:15 at the latest.
Okay. So for those people who are, they've heard of meditating and they've never done it, I mean, how did you get into it? And like, is there an app that you're using? What are you doing to guide that and learn about how to work it?
Yeah, so I just pulled it up on YouTube. I think it was back in January. I think it was George or somebody was talking about meditation, and I'm like, I've got to try this out. So back in January, I just pulled it up. I Googled guided meditation for positive energy on YouTube. And there's a YouTube video that's, I think it's just a little over 10 minutes that I listen to almost every single morning. But it just talks about breathing exercises.
Okay.
You're basically focusing on breathing in different colors into the different parts of your body. And those, I'm not sure the science behind it, but it works.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I've actually been doing that Calm app. I don't know if anyone has seen or heard of that. That's been kind of a cool thing for me. So for anyone interested in that's kind of a cool thing as well. So, okay, sweet. Well, let's dive into a little bit of kind of what your expectations are for 2020, some of your goals and what you're hoping to accomplish.
Yeah, so I feel like my expectations, I wanted to grow from 41 transactions last year to 50. So I feel like that's very realistic. And I'm working a lot more SOI and a lot more listings now. And so it's so far I'm on track to hit that easily.
Cool.
So 50 transactions personally is what I'm looking to close. And then my team, I'm hoping to close an additional 50. So a total of 100 transactions.
Good for you. That's huge, dude. That's really awesome. So that'll be a big year for you, right?
It'll be, yeah, I mean, that'd be great.
So speaking of that, I mean, I wrote down another question, which was to know if you've had before like another breakthrough year. Like I know we're talking about consistency and stuff, but have you had another time where you just had like either a breakthrough quarter, breakthrough year where things just clicked for you? And if yes, when was it and what was it that do you believe you'd attribute that breakthrough to?
You know, I feel like this year has to be, if I'm looking at, I know we're only not even halfway through the year, but I actually feel like this is my breakthrough year. I feel like everything is finally clicking. You know, everyone talks about working SOI and building that pipeline. And I feel like it's taken all, 3-4 years to finally get to this point where I'm starting to get the business trickling in from my past clients in SOI. I'm having a lot more people reach out to me than I have in the past. And the business, I'm sure I've become much more skilled in the business as well, but it just seems a little bit more systematic and a little bit easier to get the business than it ever has in the past. So I just feel like that ripple effect is starting to happen this year.
Cool. And so with that, I mean, what changed about working with your SOI? Like, what are you doing in 2020 that you didn't do in 2019 in connecting with your SOI or getting those connections made?
You know, I in the past, I never focused on it. I would say the first couple of years, I didn't focus on it as much as I should. And a lot of that came down to insecurities of myself of being, I'm a newer agent. Would people actually trust me, you know, that are my close friends and family? And in 2019, I decided that, hey, you know what, I am good at real estate and I close a lot of transactions and I absolutely can help them. And so I started to focus more on that, emphasize on it with email or mailers and emails, phone calls and text messages. And then this year I've made a goal to focus to reach out to them once a quarter. And it's been good. I mean, COVID-19 obviously helped that a lot.
Just the connection, knowing people are home and talking to them and checking in and all that stuff. Yeah. And here's what's fascinating is what everyone should also be paying attention to is when you do 20, 30, 40 transactions in a year, you're just adding that many more people out there for you to contact and communicate with and count on their referrals, right? So I'm sure that your past clients are generating you some good business as well.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So, all right, so let's dive into just some other thoughts that you could share. Look, I think you've got a lot to offer the agents and the group that's on this call for sure. Just like if you've got a brand new agent listening in on this call right now and they're trying to figure out what should I be doing, what should I spend my time doing, what should I focus on, etc. I'm curious to hear your take and what advice you would be giving them.
Yeah, so I actually have two brand new agents on my team, and so I've been focusing on this quite a bit with them. But the biggest thing that I'm focusing on is just massive action. You know, if you don't have a lot of business happening, I feel like agents, when they're starting out, they might reach out to 5 to 10 people, and that's like a huge day for them. But working up to, you know, if I didn't have any business going, I feel like I would be I couldn't talk in the day any longer. And that's kind of what I've been trying to push it and ingrain into these agents' minds that are brand new and starting in the business is you've got to be on the phone all day long. I know you, Jeremy, I think it was you, but you worked at Discover Card. When I got home from my mission, I worked at Discover Card for about 3 years. And I literally was on the phone, as you know, all day long, and it felt like banging my head into concrete. But I mean, that's a normal job. And I think right now new agents don't think that it's normal to be on the phone all day long. And that's what you have to do, especially with how competitive the business is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's what's so funny. And I'm sure you're the same as me, where you look at those days of Discover Card as a blessing of, man, I had the ability and sat on the phone for 8 hours in a day, but man, it is brutal.
Brutal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. So massive action to a brand new agent. And I think the mindset and the thought of, hang on a second here. Like, I am absolutely going to just call until I can't call anymore. Like, your job's not over when I've talked to 5 people. Your job's not over when you talk to 10 people. Your job's not over till you have found someone to start working some business on, right?
Exactly.
That's huge. That is great advice to any new agent. So I hope everyone's, and really, I mean, my next statement, and it might be the same thing for you, but it would be just as it circles around to any person that wants to take their business to the next level. I mean, they're similar questions, but not. I mean, this is a new agent, but what if you've got someone that's making the calls like you have been and stuff, and they're actually working and they're not afraid to work all day and hard? What advice would you give to that individual to take their business to the next level?
I think it comes down to schedule. You know, Judy's my coach, and we've really been focusing on a more systematic approach to my day. Because in the past, it was I kind of just went at it from the, you know, whatever they say, seat of your pants or whatever. But I'm trying to focus now on having every 30 minutes cut out of my day on what I'm prospecting and how I'm focusing on it. So I'm trying to start at 8:30 and get in the amount of contacts that I need to grow my business. You know, all these that I've listened to, all the top agents, I mean, they're prospecting. Brian Burnett's prospecting, 6 hours? I mean, that to me is just amazing. And I would love to get to that point, but he's producing at a high level and he's still prospecting that many. So having a better approach, better system every day. Cool.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I mean, that schedule is imperative. It's shifting up, and also the idea, like, and I've always said this, I think you'd agree, but it's like, yeah, you've got to find ways to talk to more people. And so you have to align your schedule and your administrative team and all those things in line to allow you to talk to more people. So like Brian Burnett, for example, you mentioned his name. It would be impossible for him to do the volume that he does if he wasn't coming up with other great solutions for the administrative tasks that he does in order for him to focus on talking to more people. And I'm assuming that's the same thing that you've experienced this year, having a breakthrough and stuff. It's just you're finding ways to arrange your schedule, maybe waking up earlier, maybe getting to the office on time every day and becoming even more disciplined, more sharp to accomplish those things. So that's huge.
Well, and I think
and
too,
very cool. Oh,
I was going to say, I brought 2 of these buyers agents on. And so that's been big for me as well, just in that trying to delegate some of that business so that they can benefit, I can benefit. I for sure need to hire an assistant to handle the paperwork. And that's what I've got to do that. I mean, immediately. So
cool. Yeah. And that's something, you should talk to your coach about that and the approach, and I've got some thoughts as well, but boy, yeah, that's phenomenal, man. That's great. Okay. So let's keep rocking and rolling here. I do want to point out too, just cause I know Judy's on the call, but she's a phenomenal influence, and pumped that you're a part of the Everest sales system, and talk to everyone about what your experience has been there, why you signed up, and how that's, I mean, this isn't a commercial, but I mean, truly, it's like, this is part of who you are, and you've got this breakthrough year that you're in the middle of. And I feel like it would be crazy for us not to mention the fact that you are signed up for coaching and that you're being formally coached. Because look, we've spent some time together, but this is a totally different beast now where you have a formal coaching client relationship right now. So share with us some of that.
Yeah. So, I got into coaching, I don't know, after my first year, I started coaching with Mike Ferry and in his organization. And it clicked really well. Everybody that was producing at a significant level that I wanted to be to, all of them had coaches. And so in my mind, it made sense, right? That if they're producing at a high level and they have a coach, well, then I should as well. And that's why I originally signed up for it. And then I stopped coaching with them for about 6 months, and it was okay. I mean, I don't feel like my business dropped at all, but when Judy came around, it was more that she could help me get to a level that I didn't know how to get to. And especially as I was transitioning from specifically only working buyers to transitioning to only working sellers. And I was pretty nervous about it. And so she's really been great to walk me through that process. And it's honestly been life-changing. I mean, it's only been
cool
3 or 4 months since I've been with her, but honestly, she's been great.
Very cool.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, we see Judy there smiling with the Everest Sales System background. I actually tried to put a different background behind me, and it just kept doing it on my face. So I don't know. I'm totally messed up today. Okay, so you drove in another interesting point there. So you had the beginning of your career really focused on, actually, you know what? I'm going to make a comment before I ask this question. I have a couple more questions for Justin, but would love if anyone has any questions they want to ask, feel free to put it in the comment section, and I'll pull it up and ask if anyone has anything they want to ask Justin. Tons of love for you out there, though. I don't know if you're seeing all the comments, but
Thanks,
you
guys.
transitioned from doing tons and tons of buyers to getting on the phone, FSBOs and expireds, which can feel like a very daunting task for someone. I'm curious, what that was like for you to make that transition. And then second is how your comfort level now with getting on the phone and just dialing up a FSBO or an expired and making those calls.
Jeremy, I honestly, I feel pretty lucky because I don't think I've ever really experienced like call reluctancy as much as I think most people do. And I think a lot of it comes from when I was doing door-to-door sales, selling alarm systems. I mean, that's like the most annoying thing on the planet. And I did it all day long, every single summer. And I just remember I had a trainer when I was doing door-to-door sales, and he said, hey, your will to stay on their porch and sell an alarm system has to be greater than their will to get you off of the porch. And I've taken that approach with door-to-door sales in the real estate world. But I don't do that as much, which I should. But on the phone, I just feel like, look, it doesn't matter who's calling. They're going to be annoyed. And if you can push through some of those smoke screens that they're going to throw up every single day, it's going to be okay. And you're going to close the business. So I don't know. I don't take it personal, and it's been okay.
Cool. Nice. So the transition was pretty smooth for you. And I was going to mention that as well. I mean, look, you transitioned from Discover cards, 7.5, 8 hours on the phone every day to summer sales of I say summer sales. I don't know if it was just the summer stuff, but I mean, you're doing the sales, which is huge. So you're door knocking, and then you get into real estate. So, his lights went out.
There we go.
That's awesome, dude. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's way cool. So not as much of the call reluctancy. Yeah. So I did a training recently, Justin, where I talked about price versus promise. And the whole principle behind it was most people are unwilling to pay the price if they can't see the promise. So you're not willing to make the calls if you can't see, well, what will the result be? And then of course, this business can be tricky that way because the work that you put in each and every day, you sometimes won't see results for months sometimes. And so I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Look, I know you're ambitious and you have a lot you want to still do. So I'm not saying you're on the other side and you've just made it all the way, right? Because I know you would refute that and say,
Right.
no, I've got to keep going. But look, you've
Yeah.
done better than most, and you're in that top tier of agents succeeding. And I'm just curious what you'd say to someone who is facing call reluctancy, who is not feeling the desire to get on that phone, and they're unwilling to pay the price because they can't see the promise. And so I guess I just ask you, like, is it worth it? And what would you say to those people about that hesitancy and stuff?
You know, when I got into the business, I had a lot of great mentors. I can't give enough credit to Phil Harvey and what he did for me and has done for me up until this point. But you know, he talked a lot to me about just doing it. I think, what is it, Brian Tracy, that talks about eating your frog every single day.
Yeah.
Just getting in and getting it done and not thinking about it. Turning the mind off as far as like thinking of the fears of, oh my gosh, they're going to say no to me or hang up on me. They absolutely are going to do that. But there's also going to be 3 or 4 people every single day who are pleased to hear from you and want to have a great conversation. And I think if you focus on the negative, where focus goes, energy flows, as they say, focus on the positive, and it just makes it so much better. You know, I think I look at the agents that I'm working with right now, and there's a significant amount of call reluctancy that they're having, and I'm just trying to focus on the positive so that they can get in, make their calls, and have those small wins every single day, and just tell them, hey, look at what the top agents are doing. They're going through the same thing every single day and they're getting success. It's going to happen if you focus on it every single day.
Cool. I love that. And actually on that same topic, I love the idea of saying to people, like, you have to see value in yourself. I've actually got a new agent, he's been in the business about 10 months and he's going to be joining our company, St. George. I need to get with you, June, on that. But very, very interesting conversations I've been having with this guy, and I've been talking to him pretty much since he's been in the business. But on your thought, it's like he's afraid to call people because, and you guys, everyone on this call has heard this, I don't want to be that person. And when you have that type of attitude, you forget that you create value, and you're trying to find the person that you're going to actually create value on. And you have to believe truly, I create value for everyone that I speak with, every FSBO, expired, neighbor of a just listed, just sold, whatever. But they don't understand that yet. But don't be afraid to get on a call. And that's what I hear you saying there as well, is just focus on the positive, focus on that reality. So, okay, so kind of in the same mode of the price versus promise, another criticism that sometimes gets pointed at by someone who's seeing success and closing 40 deals a year and all this stuff is people like to get in their heads and then say, oh, well, I bet their life sucks though. I bet they're on the phone all day. I bet that they never see their family and they never get to go on vacation and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'm just like, talk about, is it worth it? And also, does your life suck? That's a horrible question. But I mean, truly, like, I know it doesn't. So, I mean, talk about what this business is providing for you, and is it worth it, what you're doing and the energy you're putting in?
Yeah. And I think, Jeremy, that comes down to the individual, right? Like, do I work a significant amount of hours every single day, 10, 12 hours? Most days, yeah, I do. And am I okay with that? Absolutely okay with it. And I'm completely happy with where my life is at. I try and find balance as much as possible. Like, I don't work after 2 o'clock on Saturday, but I work every single Saturday. And then I don't work on Sundays, and I try and be home for dinner at least 2 to 3 nights a week. You know, my kids are young. I have a 3-year-old and then I have a 1-year-old. And I feel like they're young enough that I'm spending adequate time with them, that I can bond with them and connect with them. And I can still grow my business as much as I want. And then I just have, my wife is so awesome, to the point where she is so on board with what I'm doing that when I get home, and when I'm there, I focus 100% on them, but I'm not around most of the time, and I'm okay with that, and we're all good.
Cool. And then the other element though that I have to note, I mean, I'm friends with you on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. Like, I think you just got back from a fun vacation in St. George where you're spending tons of time with the family and doing fun things,
Yeah,
right?
so
And yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I took a week, went on vacation. I try and do that 4 times a year where I go on a week-long vacation. So I do that. And then on the months that I'm not going on vacation, I'm trying to at least get away for a weekend with my wife and kids. And so I can spend that quality time and have some good time and just honestly take a step back from the business, because it is overwhelming a lot of the times.
So guys, so listen to what he just said there, because it's important, because I know for a fact that people might be listening right now and going, oh, did you hear that? He's away from work and works on Saturday and this and that. He just told you Justin goes on 8 vacations a year and solely focuses on the family, right? I mean, that's huge. How many of you are going on 8 vacations a year? My guess is it probably turns into more. So, I mean, these little weekend trips and stuff. I just hope that you guys are gleaning some great information from this, because it's so powerful. And you can tell in the way he's talking, the body language. I mean, he's not lying. He's happy. He's has a good life, and he's not. We're not diving into this, and probably don't have time to get too deep into this, but he's comfortable, and the work and energy and price that he's paying right now is seeing through the promise of a great lifestyle, of great relationships, about focusing on the right things and being able to do great things with his family as well. So I hope that's as motivating to everyone else listening as it is to me. So, okay, Justin, I did see a question come through here. Let me pull it up. Okay, so from John Aubrey, John says, did you have a challenge knocking doors for Vivint? If so, how did you get over it? So I'm guessing same thing. Were you scared, have reluctancy getting on knocking doors, and how did you get over that?
Yeah, actually I do. So I went out, I can't remember the year at this point that I went out, but I went out and I started in California, and California is kind of a little bit of a harder market in the alarm world, as people talk about. And I actually quit. I actually quit a month in because it was too hard. And I'm like, oh, I had a 9-to-5 job prior, and I was working at Discover Card, and I had my paycheck coming in every single month. And now I'm out here risking everything. I've got $2,000 in my bank account, and I have a car payment and rent, and I was terrified. So I quit, and I quit a month into the summer. And then an entire year went by where I thought about, I cannot believe I'm a quitter. And so I was very angry and upset with myself for quitting. So I decided, because it was so hard, I was going to start again. And the next year I went back out, and I made over 6 figures that summer. And it was like 3 times the amount of money that I had made in my previous job. But I just determined that I was going to make it happen, and I was not ever going to go back to where I had to work for somebody else. So that reluctancy, yes, I had that my first year. The second year I changed my mindset, and I wasn't worried. I wasn't scared at all.
Cool. I love the tenacity and the follow through on that. That is a cool story. I'm also frustrated because if you were making $30,000 a year at Discover Card, I was only making 25. So I got hosed there. That's disappointing news. Okay, I think I saw one other question. Give me 1 second. Oh, I've got one here. Did you go to college?
I mean, I went. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
I didn't graduate, but I went. Yeah. So I was actually going to I wanted to go to law school and get into politics. I wanted to get a poli-sci degree and a law degree. And so that was part of the reason too that I originally went out to do summer sales. is that I wanted to be a full-time student and not have to work full-time and go to school full-time. The downside is I tasted that real money, and I never wanted to go to college after that.
Interesting. Well, I always give people the answer that I'm pre-med still, because, you know, I still could go become a doctor. So I'm pre-med. That's what I'm doing. So, okay. One more question here on this is, have you done any virtual listing appointments? And if so, how did it go?
The honest answer is no, I have not done a virtual appointment at all. Everything has still been in person. During everything happening, all the listing appointments that I was going on, they all wanted me to come to the house. They were okay with me coming to the house. I know I hear Matt Salter always doing those virtual appointments, and Brian Burnett doing them. I should do them. I've never done them.
Okay, good to know. Okay,
Yeah.
well, cool. Justin, I mean, there's so much more to say and ask. I know we're running short on time, but dude, this is so helpful. This is great info. We've had a great group on the phone and to participate in the call today. So thank you so much for being willing to get on and share some insight and open up to the group. You did phenomenal, and such great content, seriously. So do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I wanted to share just one last thing, Jeremy, if I could. You know, when I was getting into the business, my stepdad owns a real estate company here locally, and is not a company that's, you know, affiliated with Everest at all. I had a lot of options, and the reason that I chose to be here at Everest is because of the talent pool that we're surrounded by every single day. So if people are thinking of leaving Everest or joining Everest or whatever, this is the place to be. And if you want to succeed, you got to surround yourself by like-minded, great people. And I just couldn't be more happy to be here. And nobody's asked me to talk about this or say this or anything, so I'm not paid to say that. Unless you want to pay me, Jeremy and George.
Wink,
that'd be great.
wink, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's great. Thank you so much.
Dude, that's so awesome that you'd say that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, brother. Everybody, thanks for being on today. Definitely, I mean, tons of content and lots of people thanking you for your info, and you're the man, dude. Thanks so much for being on today. Love getting to know you better and sharing all that. That's great info.
Thanks, Jeremy.